So even though we've got a small group here tonight, we are at least recording this, so hopefully we can get this message out to a lot more people. So because of that, I'm going to make sure that I cover at least enough of the basics so that everyone can follow along, even those who are new to my materials. Most of you that are here tonight have heard me talk about manifesting. It's something that I've talked a lot about over the last 20 years. It's something that I've been involved with myself for over 40 years at this point. And even after 40 years, I continue to learn new stuff. And one of the things that I'm here tonight to talk to you about is not just one, but two of the new things that I've learned over the last 6 months. And these things dramatically increase your ability to manifest what you want into physical reality. So just to cover basics, when I talk about manifesting, I'm talking about something more than just taking physical action to make things happen. If you're hungry and you go to the kitchen and you make yourself a sandwich, you have, in effect, manifested lunch. But that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is tapping into that spiritual essence that we all have access to and using that metaphysical means of expression to create change at a distance. One of the examples that I've used quite often is the idea of influencing the weather. And this is something that I've had a lot of success with over the years. Excuse me. And especially with Linda's band, there have been a number of times when they were predicting rain for a particular day that they were scheduled to play outdoors. And I would sit down and I would say, nope, that's not going to happen. We're going to have sunny weather. It's going to be a nice day. And lo and behold, for the most part, it happens even before we get there. There have been a couple of times where it started out cloudy, but by the time they started playing, the skies were clear. So far, so good on that one. That's the type of manifesting that I'm talking about here tonight. So to try to shorten this as much as possible, one of the key processes that I have taught over the years in order to manifest what you want is something that I call harmonic prayer. It's a very simple process that I have used over the years to manifest many wonderful things. Sometimes I do it more formally than others. Most of the time, I'm able to do it on a very informal basis where it kind of happens in the background. And at least on a conscious level, all I'm really doing is focusing on what I want, choosing what I want, visualizing it, and trusting that it's going to happen. And for me, that is a simple process that works. When I am working on something that I think is bigger, which is a matter of belief, and belief is really the core foundation of manifesting. But when I feel like something is bigger, if I believe that something is bigger, then that means I need to take additional steps in order to reach a point of belief where I truly expect a positive result. And so when I am working on something bigger, I will go through the formal process in more depth in order to ensure that positive outcome that I would like. So the harmonic prayer process that I have been talking about for it's actually been about 12 years now, because that's a process that I wrote about in a book in 2012. The core process started out being just 3 steps. Relax, imagine what you want to have happen in rich, vivid detail, and then trust that it's going to happen. That is the core of the harmonic prayer manifesting process. Over the years, I've added additional steps. Relax became not just relax, but also to elicit a positive feeling within yourself, because that added step helps us to relax even further. It helps us make contact with that divine essence within ourselves, and it makes the whole process work a little bit better. There was also another step that I called act at the end, okay? The eliciting a positive feeling, I call that step indulge. So it's relax, indulge, visualize or imagine, and then trust, and then act. So the action step at the end is really putting legs on your faith. It's stepping out on faith, knowing that the actions that you take are not going to be wasted. They're not going to lead you into a blind alley, but they are based on an intuitive feeling that comes with that knowingness when you are in contact with that deeper mind. Another thing that I added over time with the trust step, there's a specific thing that you can do when you are in the harmonic prayer process where you find within yourself something that symbolizes absolute truth and absolute reality, and then apply that symbol to the idea of what you want to manifest so that it is represented and stored within your mind as something that is absolutely true and absolutely real. We'll be walking through this process later in this presentation, so don't worry if it's not very clear right now. We will make it absolutely clear before the end. So, what have I discovered recently that adds to that? Because the process, as I have just described it, has worked wonderfully for myself and many others over the years. But over the last year and a little bit more, starting in February of last year, I started studying in greater depth the field of hypnosis. Now, the harmonic prayer process itself, it was based on a self-hypnotic process. When you are doing self-hypnosis, and the reading that Steve gave us earlier, Hamid Bey did talk about when you hypnotize yourself, you start to embody the idea that you hypnotize yourself to believe. The self-hypnotic process is basically one where you relax, you try to put yourself into a hypnotic trance, and then you repeat suggestions to yourself over and over and over again. It's basically the same as repeating affirmations. But when you do that in a very relaxed, almost trance-like state, those affirmations get programmed into your deeper mind much more quickly and much more surely than repeating the same affirmations from a purely conscious level of mind. So over the last year, I've studied hypnosis in greater depth. And one of the things that I came across, one of the ideas that I came across from some of the top trainers in the hypnotic community was this alternate way of looking at self-hypnosis. Because before last year, when I described self-hypnosis to myself or somebody else, I would say basically what I just said. You try to put yourself into a trance, and then you try to give yourself suggestions. Well, that's a problematic process because if you were truly deep enough to go into a trance, your conscious mind is no longer active. And if your conscious mind isn't active, what is there to give suggestions? And so in order to do self-hypnosis in that old way of thinking, you had to compromise on how deeply you could go within yourself. You had to stay active enough and awake and alert enough so that your conscious mind could still give yourself suggestions. Well, this other idea that I've run across is that some of the best people in the hypnotic community teach a style of self-hypnosis where essentially you set a direction before you start. You basically tell yourself, okay, I'm now going to go into a self-hypnotic trance. This is the objective that I would like to accomplish during this trance. I intend to stay in trance for a certain period of time, whether it's 10 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever amount of time you have available. And then I will know that this has worked because I will feel something or something will happen right afterwards. You basically give yourself a post-hypnotic suggestion before you even go into trance to give yourself a way of proving to yourself that the session has worked. And so in this new way of doing self-hypnosis, you set the direction, set the criteria that you're planning to work on, And then you just simply relax and put yourself into that trance and just let your conscious mind go. And for whatever period of time you've set for this, your subconscious mind is working on the objective that you've given it. And you may or may not come out of the experience with any concept of what happened in the meantime. You may come out of it thinking you just had a dream. You may come out of it feeling just a little bit different, but not really knowing why. Or you may come out of it with a very clear idea of, oh, okay, now I see what happened. I see what has changed inside myself, and now I understand why things are going to be different now than what they were before. So there's different ways that you can come out of it. But what I gained from that description of self-hypnosis was that if I take the harmonic prayer process that I described earlier and insert one more step after the visualization step, where you imagine what you want in rich, vivid detail, you set a direction for what you want to manifest. If I add one extra step where you just allow yourself to release everything and go even deeper into yourself, you can carry that idea, you can carry that intention with you into an even deeper level of mind, where you are even closer to that divine essence that is within all of us. And then that helps the manifestation happen even quicker. And I have to say that I have tried this myself numerous times, and it works wonderfully. One of the most recent experiences that I've had where I did test this idea, it's an experience that as a manifestation expert, if you want to call it that, someone who talks about manifestation, is the type of experience that maybe it's not the best thing for me to share with everyone because it kind of reveals a problem, if you want to call it that too. But maybe that problem was just an opportunity in disguise. Let's just call it that. Over the last month, there have been at least 2 situations where I pulled some food out of the fridge that had been in there a little too long. It had spoiled, but I ate it anyways. And the first one was a piece of cheese. I bit into it. I knew the taste wasn't quite right, but I said, you know what? I can handle it. And I just ate the whole thing. Well, I had a very upset stomach that night. I had a very upset stomach for several days, and I was having issues. And I finally decided, okay, I'm going to go within. I'm going to manifest healing. And I'm going to take this idea of I want my body to be back into perfect health. And I took it into that space. And then I dropped my conscious control and slipped into that deeper level. And then I was able to come out of it, and I knew exactly what I needed to do. I needed to fast for a couple of days. I needed to take a break from food. And so that's what I did. I took 2 days off. I didn't eat. My body was able to clear itself out. The following week, I slowly got back into normal food again. And at that point, it's like, wow, I am feeling so much better than I was before. So that was a positive result. Well, having had that experience, you'd think that I would have learned my lesson, but a few weeks later, I pulled something else out of the fridge and I started eating it before I noticed that there was a little bit of mold growing on the side. And it's like, okay, well, I'll try to avoid that spot. And so I kept eating a little bit. It tasted fine to me, so I thought I was okay. Well, that night was the most intense night I have ever had. My stomach was churning in knots, and I think I actually had food poisoning. So I'd made the mistake, or if we want to call it, I gave myself an opportunity to demonstrate. But in any case, that particular night, I was not able to focus well enough to go into the self-hypnotic state, but the next day I was. And so the next day I went in, I did the same thing again. It's like, okay, I know I did something I shouldn't have. I want my body to heal up. This is the objective. This is what I'm manifesting, perfect health again. And so I went in, I let it go. I dropped into that no mind state. And then I come back out of it with a solid sense that, yeah, this is going to be okay. And even though I didn't go on to another fast like I did before, I did give myself about a 24-hour break from food before I started eating again. And that, let's see, this is Tuesday, that was about a week ago. And coming out of that, I have to say that I felt even better than I did the time before. And there's a lot of things we can talk about fasting and how that impacts your body, and maybe that was the causative element that created the better health, the increased energy that I have now been enjoying for quite a while. But I do believe that the manifesting process also helped a great deal. So that's been my recent experience with this. There's been a few other things, but nothing too dramatic, so I can't really tell you anything really exciting that I've manifested with this process beyond that. So that's the basic idea. That's where we're going with this. And I just now realized, okay, I'm going to do something different over there. Okay. So before I go any further, I just want to check with the people in attendance if anyone has any questions about what I've covered so far, because the next thing for me to do is to lead you through the process so that you have an actual experience of it. Is there anyone who would have any questions before we do that? And I'm seeing lots of smiles, no hands coming up. Okay, so we'll just go with it. So let's go ahead and move forward. Okay, so the process that I'm going to walk you through is what I would call the 2024 version of Harmonic Prayer. It is very definitely based on a hypnotic process, but it's not going to go fully absolutely into that in a lot of respects. So the first thing to do is to just simply find a comfortable position for your body and relax as much as you can. And if you like to lean back in your chair, go ahead and do that. If you need to stretch your muscles, tighten your muscles, and then let your body relax so that you can find an even more comfortable position, go ahead and do that. Whatever it takes to just find a nice, comfortable position for your body to rest for a few minutes while we go through this process. And one thing that also does help is just to take a few slow, deep breaths. And with each breath in, you can imagine that you're bringing in more of the divine energy into your being. And with each breath out, you just simply imagine that you are releasing all tension, all stress, all worries, all concerns, and anything else you no longer need. And then just do it again. Nice, slow, deep breath in, bringing in pure divine power. And then release all you no longer need, including any stress or tension or extraneous thoughts. And just allow your mind to become clear and peaceful as you focus on a space within yourself. And because most of you here are well practiced with meditation, this will be a very familiar process to you. To find within yourself that divine spark that is your connection to the divine essence of the universe. And for those who may be new to this type of experience, just imagine that somewhere in your imagination, you will find the spring of youth, the spring of life, a source of energy that is the essence of who you are. And just imagine that you are going there now within your mind. And as you continue to go within, you can release even more tension, release all concern for outer things. And you may notice that as you get closer to this source of divine energy within yourself, you may feel a sense of joy bubbling up within you, because the essence of who you are is joy and love and divine wisdom and power. And all of the positive qualities of the divine are within you, because your soul is a spark of the one divine essence. And as you connect more deeply to that inner self within yourself, you can embrace the loving, joyous qualities that define divinity. And maybe this can remind you of an experience that you've had where you are absolutely joyous and blissful and overflowing with positive emotions. And the more you engage in these positive emotions, the more powerful you become. And just simply embrace your divine power within yourself. And before we move forward, there is another new step in this process, and that is to identify the problem that you would like to solve, the situation that you would like to change. And remember the last time that you experienced this situation that you would like to change. And for a brief moment, remember the negative feelings that it created for you. Because when we connect to the problem that we are about to solve, it helps to target that problem. It helps to define the starting point for our deeper, powerful divine mind of what to change. And once you have identified the thing that you would like to change in your life now, set it aside, push it away, and just let it be on its own somewhere else. And turn your attention now to what you would like to have in its place. What would you like that problem to be replaced with? If your problem was a feeling of nervousness speaking in front of an audience, what would you like to replace that nervousness? Most likely, confidence. Most likely, a feeling of being at ease with yourself and the message that you are here to share. If the problem was a feeling of lack in your financial area, you might want to replace that with a feeling of abundance, of free-flowing finances that are always coming into your life in far greater abundance, day by day. If the problem was a relationship that you have with somebody where that relationship is not working out as well, maybe what you would like to replace that with would be greater understanding in that relationship, greater cooperation within that relationship, or maybe even replace the entire relationship. Whatever you want is okay. There's no judgment about what do you want to experience in your life. But now that you have decided on what you would like to replace that problem with, now is your opportunity to imagine the greatest, most possible, perfect outcome that could possibly manifest into your life. And just imagine what it could be, what you would like it to be, what you want it to be, and what you intend to experience from this point forward, what it will be. And imagine it in rich, vivid detail, with all of the sights, the sounds, the feelings, the textures, the emotions, everything that makes it a full and rich experience. And just allow yourself to indulge in the wonderful emotions and sensations that will be a part of this new experience that you are now manifesting into your life. And just allow it to be absolutely perfect. And once you have set the direction, once you have programmed in the outcome that you would like to manifest, we will now take a few minutes to just simply relax even further within yourself and just allow yourself to drift and be aimless and let go of all sense of control, all conscious control, and allow your deeper subconscious divine mind to take over for a while, for the next 3 minutes. And then when it's time, I will call you back and just let it be whatever it's going to be. And as you float in this timeless space within yourself, It is amazing what your powerful subconscious divine mind can do in such a short period of time. And so, at this point, simply decide that what you have intended is going to manifest. It is absolutely true and real, part of your future experience. And this experience is now part of your destiny, and there's no way to avoid it, even if you wanted to. You will experience it soon. Now, I don't know if you will experience it tonight, tomorrow, or some other day in the near future, but experience it you will. And as you recognize the feeling of absolute truth, absolute reality within yourself, you can take this energy of absolute truth and apply it to the idea that your manifestation is on its way to you now. It is an absolute truth. It is part of the absolute physical reality of our existence. This is real. And as you anchor this into your mind as a reality, it is done. There's nothing else to do. There's nothing else you could do at this point to stop it. So hopefully you decided on something you really want. So at this point, our work is done. And all we have to do is return our focus back to our body and the room in which you left it. And as you come back to the surface, realize you have manifested something on a very deep level. And we can be very thankful with a lot of gratitude that manifesting works and works wonderfully. So when you are ready, go ahead and come back up to the surface, open your eyes, and we can move into the discussion part of tonight's event. So I want to thank everyone for being here. I am looking forward to any comments and feedback you would like to share. And if you want to keep things private, that's okay too. But be interested to hear what your experiences were in that. I know that little 3-minute segment was a very short period. That's much shorter than what I would normally do. But because of the group and wanting to try to be mindful of time, I didn't really want to stretch it to a full 10 minutes, which was my original idea. So has anybody had any experience with this type of manifesting or this type of self-hypnosis where you give up all conscious control and just let it go to your subconscious mind? Yeah, go ahead, Lori.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I was trying to work on the right thing or not, but I've been having issues with sciatica. And so what I was concentrating on was dissolving the pain out of the body. And probably that is something we need to spend a little more time on, like the 10 minutes you suggested. But it felt a little better. It did. So that, I don't know.
Yeah, if you can feel any type of result on that quickly, just imagine how much better you're going to feel in an hour from now or by next morning.
Great. I love it.
Well, I can add to that.
Okay, go.
Having a pinched nerve in my back, having a sciatic type pain in my leg, my left leg has been something I've been working on for quite a long while. And today I was in a hurry to go to a brunch that I had this morning. I usually wear an ankle brace. And now that we're talking about it, I'm realizing I haven't noticed any pain in that leg all day. And
So you manifested relief even before you got here.
I've been working on this I've been in your classes before, so
Yeah.
it's been gradually getting better and better, I think. And I all of a sudden I thought, gee, I wonder when it stopped. But this morning, the Daily Word, do you have a copy of the Daily Word?
I don't get it anymore.
Oh, you don't? Okay. Well,
Yeah.
it was on patience. And when you have a prayer desire, you have to be patient. The time will happen when the time is right. You can't force it early or push it off too far in the future, whatever. The time has to be right. And I thought, well, that's interesting. I think the time was right because it's your class. And I had to be aware of it, that I just was going about my day and my activities and not even being conscious of the fact that today that leg has not given me a problem at all. And I wasn't even wearing the support that I normally wear.
Okay. The only thing I'll add to the idea of patience, and I will say, yes, patience is definitely a virtue, and we want to be patient and let it take whatever amount of time it's going to take. But at the same time, don't automatically assume that things are going to take a long time, because it could happen instantly. It could happen now. It can happen in 5 minutes. It can happen in an hour. It could happen at any time, and that includes now. So if it doesn't happen now and it doesn't happen in 5 minutes, then that's when we start depending more and more on patience and just remind ourselves it will happen. I just don't know when.
Right.
I'd like to add right to that. Guess what? In the Course in Miracles, guess what the quote was that I covered today? Now you must learn that only infinite patience produces immediate effects. I loved it. Goes well with what you were talking about, Barbara.
Yep. When you trust that it will happen at some point eventually, and it'll happen on its own time, then yeah, it can happen anytime. Yep. So, okay. Anybody else?
Well, when I was younger, I found it always took about 3 months to manifest things for some reason. And as I got older, the timing got shorter. So sometimes it's instantaneous, sometimes it's a little longer, but I agree. Just to feel, like when we were doing the meditation, I felt as if I already had it. It was like, it's done. And so that's when you feel that, it's almost like that's when it kind of clicks. It's almost like you click into that space and it's like as if it's already there.
Yeah.
So it was really good. Thank you. It was great.
Yeah, the story that I often tell about the manifestation of the relationship I have with Linda is that I spent quite a long time in these sessions. I didn't call it harmonic prayer back then, but it was essentially the same thing. I set myself down and I said, okay, I am intending to manifest a specific outcome. I am going to imagine what it is that I would like to experience, and I am trusting that what I imagine will actually happen. And then I would just go in and do my daydream, is what I called it at that time. And so I would daydream about having the most perfect relationship and be enjoying all these different activities, nice, wonderful conversations, going out to different vacations, going to see different shows, all that kind of thing. And then at the end of it, my feeling was that I had just been out on a date and I had spent time with someone that I truly cared about. And that was an absolute wonderful experience. Like Steve just said, I felt like I already had it for a time. But I knew that there was going to be another date to come. And there again, that goes back into what I was just saying earlier about it could happen at any time. The next day, as soon as I was out in the world, I was looking around and it's like, okay, I know I'm going to meet her at some point. It could happen at any time. and I'm ready for it. It took a few weeks, but I maintained that level of faith and confidence until it happened. And then, as most of you know, went to a Unity service, about ready to leave. She taps me on the shoulder. I look around, I see her. Right away, I knew she was the one. So having that feeling of, yes, it's already done. Not only can it help speed the manifestation along, but in situations like what Lori was just saying with a pain type of thing or a situation within your body, when you feel like it is already done, your body is already doing the work because you are feeling what's going on inside your body. And that is a very direct means of manifestation. Okay. So any questions or anything else you'd like me to talk about? Otherwise, I guess we can close it out early.
I have a question for Lori. Is that the healing hand that's in standing upright behind you on your right-hand side? There's a hand, a small hand.
You talking about this thing?
Yeah, yeah.
Back
Sorry,
scratcher.
back scratcher.
Sciatica, healing back scratcher, yes.
It's a healing hand of sorts, yes.
Yes.
Well, what Laura Joy's talking about is a great way of doing manifestation. If you have a physical item that you can think of as a symbol for what you want to manifest, like she says, a healing influence. If you imagine that as a healing hand, then you can place the back scratcher any place that needs healing, and it'll work for you. That's another way of communicating with your deeper mind what you would like to have it do for you.
Yeah, perfect. All right. Well, great. Well, thank you, Alan. That was it was wonderful. That was really a good talk and great meditation and hypnosis. And thank you everyone for coming tonight. And we'll see everyone next Tuesday for the Master Study Group, and we'll be studying Eckhart Tolle next week. So with that, we'll sign off, and thank you everyone. Have a wonderful evening.
Good night.
Good
Thank you.
night.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.